Welcome back to Our Life Beginnings and Always the series. Today we are on episode 7 and I'm really excited because I think we can actually move on from this summer and go into being preteens. But before I do, there's just one more childhood memory that I want to play through. I want to play through it because I specifically remember this memory affects the future when you guys are like young adults or something. So let's see. Yes, I believe it's the shopping one is the one that we have to do, and then I'll go ahead and end the summer there. So let's begin. Honestly, Fireflies is a really good memory as well. I might do these two, at least. Come back before it gets dark. Alright, sport. The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off of his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later, his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first, then his dad. In turn, Cove shuffled his feet in place as you got closer. Paige. I love his voice acting.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Paige? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You toed the pavement in front of you. It would be nice to tell them all about the snail you found, but you didn't know if they liked snails. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. It does. You weren't sure about that. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him? Yeah, you can come. You immediately grinned at the idea. You hadn't been sure if you'd see Cove today, and now he was inviting you somewhere. This day couldn't get much better. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd, since your moms only ever seem to have cards in theirs. Maybe he's like a stripper or something. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sure. That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he returned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide, creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. I love the beach. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean searched the ground intently. Are you looking for snails? Her obsession with snails. Are you looking for shells? What is it? You didn't feel the need to ask why. Well, she likes snails. He's probably looking for shells. But let's ask if he's looking for snails. Cove looked over at you, wrinkling his nose. Who would want something like that? You felt the urge to defend the activity you'd been indulging in only a short while ago. A lot of people. Nah, no way. They're weird, and you can't take them anywhere because they're bugs. You have to leave them alone. Cove chuckled to himself, and that ended the discussion. He can think what he wants, and you'll think your own things. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise. And you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a glance your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What did you want to go to the shops for? What do you usually do on the beach? We're not going to say anything. He seemed altogether too invested in the floor to pay attention. You decided to watch the waves as they inched closer and closer to your feet instead. Oh! Abruptly, Cove stopped, then moved briskly ahead a few steps. What is it? Without a word, he bent down, picking something up half buried in the sand. You hurried nearer, curiously glancing over his shoulder. It was a shell, lightly pink at the bottom and bleached white at the top. Wow, so you found what you were looking for. Cove got back up, turning his find over in his hands before unbuttoning one of the many pockets on his pants and sliding it inside. I pick up anything that's kind of cool. This is what I got this time. Snails are cool. Cove frowned and didn't remark on your very valid input. So, what about you? What do you do out here? I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming. I like looking at fish. I like to build sandcastles. Nothing. Okay, we like to swim, of course. Cove's lips curled up in a small smile. Me too. Oh, we have so much in common. It occurred to you that you hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again and so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It's nice. It's not very nice. It's alright. I'm gonna say it's nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fulfill you. And there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. He doesn't look that excited at the moment. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. You bit your lip, reluctantly starting to follow after Cove again. Oh, it might be fun to stay and watch the magician. You continued to look over your shoulder, however, wanting to see as much as you could before you got too far away. Hey! Not watching where you were going proved a bad idea as you bumped right into Cove. Oh, sorry. Did you want to stay or something? If that's okay. He briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place. You could have said so. With that, it began. The magical man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers. And the card just disappeared. Whoa! ... The amazing Alexander, who earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing. Tell me. You backed away. Okay, so she has to be shy, because that's what I want her personality to be. So I'm going to say... this is a tough one. I don't want to back away because this is fun, but... Okay, she just looks at me like nothing. It was true. You didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he had done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend, too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove is just ruining the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wondered if Cove's whole family was magic. So cute. Oh my gosh, I love that childlike thought process. Okay. I'm just gonna wonder if his whole family is magic. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. You picked up a kaleidoscope, you picked up a Rubik's Cube, you picked up a magic 8-ball, you walked past the toys. What happens when I walk past the toys, I wonder? I've never chosen that. The kaleidoscope sounds really cool though. So does the magic 8-ball. Decisions. I wish I could put up a ball right here. I am just going to walk past the toys. Go against my instinct. Walk past the toys. I want to see what happens. You briefly looked over the rack of toys, thinking that they could be interesting to look at, but you didn't really feel in the mood at the moment. Cove picked up one of the kaleidoscopes and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin. shell. It had flecks of metallic green on its back that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. Cute. You remembered the turtles you had seen in a movie. You had been mesmerized by the way they gently glided through the water. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad. You still had that $20 bill Mr. Holden gave you, hidden away in your room. It was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your moms to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money. It's fine. Really? Really? Are you sure? Hooray! You don't have to. I don't want you to get it for me. Okay. I am gonna say, really, really. Cove took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself, too. It's cool, you should get it. You were a little nervous, but happy with your purchase nonetheless. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you, too. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah? Does your dad always give out money like that? Thanks for getting me it. Nothing. I'm gonna say nothing. Okay. Cove looked further down the street, where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over her stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's go get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around for a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. I'm not gonna lie, I'm starving right now. I could go for, I don't know, chips and salsa sound good. Okay. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you, I do like pretzels. I got a plain one, got one with cheese, got one with sprinkles, got one with chocolate, got the same. I like pizza pretzels or cinnamon pretzels, so we're gonna do the same. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. Your moms didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. It's their first date out. The little cup of icing looked too delicious to pass on. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled-up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know. After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around, but remained attached, he smiled, satisfied. Could you help me too? I can't tie it to my own wrist. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. But the action made you feel strangely happy. You couldn't look him in the eyes.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue, with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Merryweather, and he's the prince of the dolphins. Mine's name is Splash, the star in movies. Mine's name is Jerry. She's actually an alien. That kind of reminds me of Echo the Dolphin, the game. Mine's name is Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. Okay. We're gonna be creative. It's an alien. Mine's name is Jerry, and it's actually an alien. When no one is looking, she transforms back into her true alien self. She has purple skin and 10 eyes. You sighed, wishing you could meet a real-life alien. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock, like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw tears start to glisten. Oh no. Paige, You made a joke. You offered to find Alexander. You offered to give Cove your balloon. You didn't say anything. He would be alright. Let's make a joke. I don't know what joke I would say. Its name is Pop. That's a weird name for a dolphin. How cute. Cove stared down at his hands for several long moments. I'm sorry. Was that in bad taste? The smallest of smiles twitched at his lips. His sister's name is Boom. Aww. You giggled. Don't forget about his brother, Kapow. Cove let out a quiet laugh of his own before finally lifting his eyes to meet yours. The tears in his eyes had dried, and it made your smile grow even more. How cute. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset, fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been great going around with Cove. You hoped to do it again, but next time you wished nothing would happen to make him cry. And that is the end of that memory. I knew these memories were a lot shorter than the DLC ones. I've only been recording for 30 minutes rather than a damn hour. Well, that was fun. I thought that was a really sweet little memory. I think we're just gonna finish the childhood since they're only like 30 minutes each. And then it'll make the future of this story even better because we'll have made all the decisions that we need that affect the future. So, with that being said, I'm gonna save the game. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Thanks for watching.